How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. But an act of horrific violence occurred during the night, and I do not know if this is linked to the... disappearance of Sarah.
What are you getting at? What act of violence?
We found Elizabeth Adams' body in her room. She was brutally murdered, stabbed several times. I'll get straight to the point, Louis. According to the initial elements at my disposal, you were the last person to see her alive.
Yes, last night we, Do you suspect me?
I want you to tell me everything that happened last night and leave nothing out. Tell me, how did the evening begin?
Duchess Hillsborough and I were returning to our rooms when Elizabeth came up to us. She was in a state of panic and insisted that she needed to speak to me. She said she feared for her life. I took my leave of the Duchess and followed Elizabeth to her room.
Continue.
She insisted we have a drink, without which she refused to confide anything.
What exactly did she want to speak about?
She claimed she saw my mother the previous evening on the cliff, if I remember correctly.
Interesting. I will send someone as soon as possible. But do go on.
I refused to go on drinking with her. She already seemed drunk and her conversation became confused. So, then she ordered me to get out. If only I'd stayed.
Don't blame yourself, Louis. How could you have known? But thank you for this new information.
Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed.
I understand. What do you intend to do?
I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi, so I think you can remove them from the list of suspects. Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
Your Eminence, I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. It's probably nothing. But if I were you, my son, I would talk to Monsieur Peru. You remember how violently he set upon Miss Adams.
Oh, don't worry. He's on the list of suspects.
Dante's Purgatory. Why does your mind presume to flight when you're still like the imperfect grub, the worm before it's attained its final form? Charming.
Golden elixir.
Which four-letter word could open this chest?
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
I'll be in touch as soon as I have any more information. Monsieur Jacques Perru?
What do you want from me, de Richet?
Greetings. It's fallen to me
Cut
that...
the crap! Get to the point. We both know why you're here.
And have you got anything to tell me?
What does it matter? It's too late anyway. Do what you have to do and get out.
It's never too late, sir. If you have something to say, now is the time.
You don't understand. Everything's already written. It's over.
Why is he behaving like the perfect culprit? What is it that's already written? I'm not sure I follow you.
No, you don't.
A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Perru, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously well, and little Pierre will soon be walking. Some of them still sometimes suffer nightmares about their parents.
All right. I've retrieved everything.
The Massacre of the Innocents, but by Van Harlem. I think that Mortimer likes to play mind games with his guests. Great, honey. The Massacre of the Innocents by Rubens. A bit gloomy. Guess my room is not that bad. Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. And there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around. Another painting on the massacre of the innocents?
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing operations in Paris. A boat will be waiting for you in Calais and will take you to Dover in England.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I'd like to talk about the letter you're writing. What woman is it addressed to?
Who says it's a woman? I'm not saying any more. There's no point you insisting. All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Let's get right to it. Are you Elizabeth Adams' murderer?
That is for you to prove, if I'm not mistaken, boy. You weren't expecting me to do all the legwork for you, were you? Lazy man.
Goodbye, sir. We shall meet again.
Probably.
Hannibal crossing the Alps. Another military success. Why do I get nothing but visions of horror in my room, and he gets victory after victory? A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the Prince by Machiavelli. A perfect read for anyone with a surfeit of ambition. That might come in handy.
Monsieur de Richet, please be quick. We are both very busy.
Did you hear about young Elizabeth?
Indeed, it is deeply regrettable.
Lord Mortimer asked me to...
I know. You no doubt want to know my alibi. I spent the night downstairs playing cards.
Can you tell me who was present at the game, please?
Well, there were Lord Mortimer, President Washington, and Sir Gregory.
Thank you.
Ah, and His Eminence Piaget as well. Excuse me, I nearly forgot him. Poor soul.
Did any of you leave during the game?
Not that I know of, monsieur. I didn't exactly spend my time noting the other guests' comings and goings, but I don't think so.
Thank you. Did you notice anything unusual during the evening?
Nothing at all, except the luck of the devil of Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory at cards.
Did they win much?
Oh la la, monsieur. Cleaned us out more like, but I plan on getting it all back before we leave.
What time did the game end?
I can't say exactly. As for me, I must have stayed until midnight. I was exhausted, couldn't think straight. So I preferred to go up to bed.
On your way up to bed, did you notice anything out of the ordinary?
No, not in the least. The whole manor was sound asleep.
Not really. No. Someone saw you not far from the victim's room. Can you tell me what you were doing exactly, please?
I can tell you that someone is an idiot. I wanted to warn her to be careful. You see, on the night of my arrival, I saw someone leaving her room in haste, and I wanted to speak to her, to warn her. Unfortunately, the young lady slipped through my fingers each time. Now I know why. She had every reason to be worried. What an idiot I was not to insist. I could have helped her.
I've been studying him for a while now, and I don't think he was lying. Yet, I'm surprised how easy it was for me to read him. It must surely be his military side. I wish they all could be like that. My investigation would be finished already. Someone saw you not far from the victim's room. Can you tell me what you were doing exactly, please?
I can tell you that someone is an idiot. I wanted to warn her to be careful. You see, on the night of my arrival, I saw someone leaving her room in haste, and I wanted to speak to her, to warn her. Unfortunately, the young lady slipped through my fingers each time. Now I know why. She had every reason to be worried. What an idiot I was not to insist. I could have helped her.
Were you able to recognize the prowler?
Unfortunately not, no. It was dark, and Lord Mortimer was waiting for me. I was not really paying attention anyway.
But if I remember rightly, the night of her arrival was also the night of my arrival. So the person he saw leaving Elizabeth's room was Washington. I've been studying him for a while now, and I don't think he was lying. Yet, I'm surprised how easy it was for me to read him. It must surely be his military side. I wish they all could be like that. My investigation would be finished already.
Well, have we finished, monsieur?
Exactly. Thanks again for all your answers. Good day. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. My dearest son, I'm writing to implore you to act quickly. The situation is rapidly worsening here. Paoli continues to steer our motherland, Corsica, toward open warfare between France and England. His men are everywhere. We are obliged to go into hiding and are unable. A bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier. French actor Talma is Nero in Britannicus. Amber. There's just one holster in Bonaparte's gear, and the pistol is missing. On the other hand, his cleaning equipment is in mint condition. That's typical of the soldier in him.
My dear Napoleon, as previously agreed, I would like to ask you to join us in January on my island to participate in the High Society meeting organized for the occasion.
Golden elixir. Consume without excess. It's a beautiful weapon. Lovely damask blade. It's marked with the initials of the manufacturer in Versailles. It's a beautiful weapon. Lovely damask blade. It's marked with the initials of the manufacturer in Versailles.
Monsieur de Richet, please be quick. We are both very busy.
Did you hear about young Elizabeth?
Indeed, it is deeply regrettable.
Lord Mortimer asked me to...
I know. You no doubt want to know my alibi. I spent the night downstairs playing cards.
Someone saw you not far from the victim's room. Can you tell me what you were doing exactly, please?
I can tell you that someone is an idiot. I wanted to warn her to be careful. You see, on the night of my arrival, I saw someone leaving her room in haste, and I wanted to speak to her, to warn her. Unfortunately, the young lady slipped through my fingers each time. Now I know why. She had every reason to be worried. What an idiot I was not to insist. I could have helped her.
Were you able to recognize the prowler?
Unfortunately not, no. It was dark, and Lord Mortimer was waiting for me. I was not really paying attention anyway. Well, have we finished, monsieur?
Exactly. Thanks again for all your answers. Good day. King George III in coronation robes. Nice touch for the room of an English duchess.
Dear E, I received your last letter. Unfortunately, the Crown informed the Golden Order that our mission should under no circumstances hamper Sir Gregory's plans. Decidedly, they have support from the highest level in Buckingham Palace. So here we both are, hands and feet tied, and little room to maneuver. Keep me abreast of events. Our mission is becoming more complicated. Yours, E.
Grammar of Port-Royal. Ah, the artistry of the French language in all its splendor. Whoever masters French commands the world, at least une partie of it. Two coils circle the lock.
Dear Gregory, thank you for the information. I've managed to find out about the names you gave me. George Washington is a man you can trust. In spite of his obvious talent for politics, he has remained upright and honest. On the other hand, as you may well know, he is already doing business with Lord Mortimer. It will be more difficult to approach him. Napoleon Bonaparte was unknown to me until today. He's a passionate young French soldier for whom Mortimer predicts a promising future. Take heed. He is a man of conviction, which...
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Dear Gregory...
All right. I've retrieved everything. A letter from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam, I shall never thank you enough for all your care and attention. I shall be indebted to you until my last breath. If you have any request of me, you only need ask. With regards to my son William, I shall never thank you enough for looking after him. You know the latter's preferences, and... A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguise. Traits.
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Did you hear anything about what happened to Elizabeth?
Yes, we all did. Rumors spread quickly, you know. How awful. I didn't know her well, but I hope at least the poor thing didn't suffer too much.
Death came quickly. You can be assured of that.
If such a senseless act can happen here, then none of us is truly safe anywhere. Lord Mortimer must be mortified that one of his guests could have committed such an act, don't you think?
He is indeed very upset about it. It's only natural after such a violent murder.
Violent? What do you mean?
Elizabeth was stabbed 9 times.
Oh my God, Louis. How awful. The murderer must have had a serious grudge against her to set upon her like that. It must have been a crime of passion. Do you know what happened exactly?
In fact, Lord Mortimer has asked me to look into this case, Emily.
Really? Are you Lord Mortimer's snoop now?
I'm doing it for Elizabeth, not to please Mortimer.
Good for you. Quite right, too. Have you found out anything?
I'm now interviewing all the guests to establish the alibis for each person. Just so that I can cross you off the list of suspects, can you tell me what you were doing on the night of the murder?
Am I given to understand that I'm on the list of suspects?
Don't take it the wrong way, but I must consider every possibility.
Well, if you absolutely wanted to be sure of my activities that evening, you only had to join me, you know.
I know, Emily. Especially since I couldn't prevent the murder, even though I spent part of the evening with Elizabeth.
You're sure it's not too hard to bear for you?
The fact is, I don't have a choice. But I will find the murderer. I owe Elizabeth that, at least. Did you and Elizabeth get to know each other?
I must admit, Louis, I didn't take much interest in her. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I never actually spoke to her. She seemed burdened by her problems, and as she wasn't invited to the conference, I didn't really seek her out.
I hear you were in discussions with the Holy See.
Oh, either His Eminence can't keep his tongue from wagging, or you've been poking your nose where you shouldn't, sir.
Even so, Emily, you're raising a royalist army. That's no small matter.
And you are straying from the subject. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me?
I won't keep you, Emily. Thank you for answering my questions.
See you, Louis. What can I do for you, Louis?
I won't keep you, Emily. Thank you for answering my questions.
See you, Louis. Dear E,
A map of Vermont. It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals. The English and the Americans are preparing a peace treaty. It would appear that Emily is in secret discussion with Washington about reopening trade between the United States and England. If such an arrangement came into being, France would suffer dearly. It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals.
My dear George, I'd like to invite you to join me as planned at my place. I have a project to show you. It is time that the United States played a more important role on the world stage. I understand your reluctance of playing with fire. I know.
Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost.
Portrait of George Washington.
Greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
Lord Mortimer has sent me to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You Well, you couldn't have known that her days were numbered. Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr. Peru, but that case was closed, if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened, and I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry. Countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks. Do you know why she came to the island?
To get help, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Indeed. Sir Gregory suggested to her father that he introduce her to Lord Mortimer to see if he could help her. It would appear that she wasn't invited to the conference.
That doesn't surprise me. The poor girl was in no way concerned by our business, and she had no political clout.
So, I don't understand why Sir Gregory invited her during the conference of his good friend Lord Mortimer. He must have realized that he wouldn't have much time to grant her. Preparing a conference does not seem an easy task. On the evening of our arrival, Lord Mortimer didn't even welcome us, what with his being so busy and all.
Yes, you're right, Louis. I didn't think of that. It is indeed rather surprising. The easiest thing to do is simply ask him, you know.
Of course. I'm talking to all the guests to find out who has an alibi and, well, who doesn't, Mr. President. Can you tell me what you were doing last night so that I can strike your name off the list?
I spent the night right here, reading.
All night?
Exactly. Emily stopped by in the middle of the night, you can ask her. She wanted to talk about some business we have in common.
Anything whatsoever to do with Elizabeth?
Not at all, Louis. A business matter.
I shan't keep you any longer, Mr. President.
Feel free, Louis. If there's anything I can do, just ask.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
No, nothing special.
Has anyone told you that Elizabeth was killed last night?
Yes. Rumors spread quickly.
Huh. He looks very put out.
It's horrible. How did it happen?
I can say nothing to you, sir. You'd better follow your host's instructions and stay in your quarters.
I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
A chest with a half-circle pattern. An untutored hand copied these notes. Looks like a healing method. Well, that's a pity. The writing is barely legible. The note suggests binding the feet and hands, then blocking the jaws using a piece of cloth to prevent the tongue from being sectioned. That looks like a method to control an epileptic fit. I wonder if Elizabeth is the one being treated for that illness.
Has Sir finished with this room?
No, I haven't gone over everything yet.
Sir may take his time. When Sir would like to leave, Sir has only to tell me.
My dear Elizabeth, I'm writing to inform you of some unfortunate news. We won't be able to meet as planned on the first Sunday of May. I've been told that you're no better, and, unfortunately, your brothers and I are absolutely snowed under by the work required to govern this new country. Please excuse us. As soon as we can get free, even... The clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here? Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual? I wonder if Elizabeth's death has anything at all to do with this pentagram. If a ritual went wrong and degenerated, Elizabeth would probably have been killed in the center of the pentagram, not 3 meters from here. That's strange. A Bazant. A notebook written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out. It's medieval Latin. Well, enough to translate a bit. He's coming. The demon is upon me. He's coming back to kill me. There she is. Death has come to finish me off. I've just run into her son. That was her last entry. What tortured writing. A novel of the initiation of a young woman into polite society. June 11th, 1791. My dear Elizabeth, your last letter gave me much cause for concern. Your words were so cold, as if emotions no longer matter to you. Father maintains that the secondary effects of your treatment still trouble you. A pistol? Fairly new, I'd say, and judging by the weight of it, fairly light. There's a few dried traces of blood on the grip. Difficult to know for sure how they got there. A tribute engraved on the barrel. To the liberators of France. It's extremely well maintained. The barrel is perfectly clean. It isn't loaded, and well, there's no traces of gunshot residue. I'd conclude that it hasn't been used recently. Right. I shall have to find its owner. Piece of fabric. High quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear.
travel dress. The silk has been lightly waxed to protect it from bad weather. And I know the very woman who came up with the idea, given all the traveling she does. My mother. God help us. Why did she come here in the first place? The material appears to have undergone abnormal wear and tear. She must have been scouring the countryside, and that doesn't look good. Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved. Large quantities could knock out a bull. Could Elizabeth have been drugged? If the body wounds are anything to go by, then clearly not. She put up a fierce fight. Girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe. Knocked over bottle of wine. Same thing Elizabeth served me last night. Still just as disgusting. I don't know what's happened to this wine, but it's undrinkable. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand. The blade is short and thin, well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The handprint on the handle is really small. I can't imagine a man with a hand that size. It must be from a woman's hand. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. The scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control. The scars are superficial and were made several years ago. She wasn't trying to take her own life. I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. What a strange smell. Laudanum. Certain courtiers use it to get drunk. If taken in large quantities, it can provoke fits of madness. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. No marks or bruising around the wrists. It doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force. Clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. The blood spatter indicates that the murder must have held Elizabeth upright during the attack. Even if Elizabeth wasn't very big, I doubt she wouldn't have put up a struggle. It takes tremendous strength to overpower someone like that.
Has Sir finished with this room?
I know enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.
Pound.
The Sorrows of Young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever-obedient servant. So, Volner had a relationship with Elizabeth, but that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult. Golden elixir. A table of alchemical symbols. Someone circled the zinc symbol. chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
Fragment of amber.
The alchemist is an old man.
What can I do for you, de Richet?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, monsieur?
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed, but I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. Excuse me for asking, but did you know Miss Adams?
Oh, she... not really, to tell the truth. No.
I found the Werther dedication, signed by your hand, monsieur. Would you like to change your version now?
Be careful, de Richet. Don't push your luck. My relationship with Miss Adams was pure, and has nothing to do with you. Well, continue playing the detective as you see fit. But if I find the bastard who did that to Elizabeth, I will...
Yes! I would have preferred a simple response, but I see I have my answer now. I get the impression that your romance was over. Am I right?
So? What does it matter to you? I would never have attacked her, if that's what you're insinuating.
Who put an end to the relationship? You or her?
It was her. It was her. But what does that matter? We both agreed.
Exactly how long had you been seeing her?
I have no reason to answer you.
I see. Is that what you want me to tell Lord Mortimer when he asks what I found out?
It's only been a few weeks.
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed, but I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
What can I do for you, Louis?
Did you and Elizabeth get to know each other?
I must admit, Louis, I didn't take much interest in her. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I never actually spoke to her. She seemed burdened by her problems, and as she wasn't invited to the conference, I didn't really seek her out.
Tell me, Emily, what's the nature of your relationship with Washington?
Oh, come off it, Louis. You're not going to go into a jealous rage, are you?
No, I can assure you of that. That has nothing to do with it. You're preparing a treaty to break the ties between the United States and France.
Whatever are you talking about, Louis?
I read your correspondences, Emily.
It's not what you think. So don't go thinking there's anything personal in it.
Are you trying to break Franco-American agreements, Emily?
That's the job, Louis. We're all doing everything we can to serve the best interests of our nation. It's got nothing to do with you or us.
But why didn't you tell me about it before?
Would you have told me?
I hear you were in discussions with the Holy See.
Oh, either His Eminence can't keep his tongue from wagging, or you've been poking your nose where you shouldn't, sir.
Even so, Emily, you're raising a royalist army. That's no small matter.
And you are straying from the subject. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me?
We found the murder weapon.
What is it?
A dagger, quite slim.
Have you found its owner?
Not yet, still searching as it happens. That said, since the blade penetrated the body several times, the murderer's hand will have been covered in blood.
You think that's a clue?
The handprint was a very slender hand, Emily. Probably that of a woman.
Do you realize what that means? There are only 3 of us on the island. Bearing in mind that neither my sister nor myself had any reason to set upon the young lady, that means...
I know, Emily. I know.
Keep up your courage, Louis. I'm sure there's an explanation. You're bound to shed some light on it all.
If what you say is true, Emily, I'm less and less enthusiastic about shedding any light on the subject. I found a torn piece of dress in Miss Adams' room. Gray silk.
Where's it from?
That's what I'm trying to find out. The color doesn't match any of Elizabeth's dresses, but I might not have found all of her clothes yet.
Good Lord, Louis, do you realize what this means? If this piece of dress isn't from Elizabeth, then it's... I don't have any grey silk dresses, Louis. Neither does my sister, since we wear the same clothes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to check with you.
I'm so sorry, Louis.
Thank you.
Are you all right? You know, I'm sure there's a good reason why your mother was at the scene.
Thank you, Emily. I won't keep you, Emily. Thank you for answering my questions.
See you, Louis.
Golden elixir.
Monsieur de Richet, please be quick. We are both very busy.
As any good soldier would, I imagine you own a firearm. May I see it?
Oh, well, if you really want to, here is my pistol. Don't worry, it is not loaded.
Do you have several of these?
In Corsica, oui, but not on me when I am traveling. Only a bandit would carry such an arsenal.
Thank you. Someone saw you not far from the victim's room. Can you tell me what you were doing exactly, please?
I can tell you that someone is an idiot. I wanted to warn her to be careful. You see, on the night of my arrival, I saw someone leaving her room in haste, and I wanted to speak to her, to warn her. Unfortunately, the young lady slipped through my fingers each time. Now I know why. She had every reason to be worried. What an idiot I was not to insist. I could have helped her.
Were you able to recognize the prowler?
Unfortunately not, no. It was dark, and Lord Mortimer was waiting for me. I was not really paying attention anyway. Well, have we finished, monsieur?
Exactly. Thanks again for all your answers. Good day.
My dearest son.
There's just one holster in Bonaparte's gear, and the pistol is missing. On the other hand, his cleaning equipment is in mint condition. That's typical of the soldier in him.
My dear...
French actor Talma is Nero in Britannicus, the last emperor of the Caesar dynasty. It's a beautiful weapon. A lovely damask blade. It's marked with the initials of the manufacturer.
Monsieur de
Versailles.
Richet, please be quick. We are both very busy.
As any good soldier would, I imagine you own a firearm. May I see it?
Oh, well, if you really want to, here is my pistol. Don't worry, it is not loaded.
Do you have several of these?
In Corsica, oui, but not on me when I am traveling. Only a bandit would carry such an arsenal.
Thank you.
Well, have we finished, monsieur?
Exactly. Thanks again for all your answers. Good day.
Dear Monsieur Peru, I'm all right. I've retrieved everything.
Dear friend, please come and join.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Let's get right to it. Are you Elizabeth Adams' murderer?
That is for you to prove, if I'm not mistaken, boy. You weren't expecting me to do all the legwork for you, were you? Lazy man.
You were armed the night of my arrival. Can I see your weapon?
No.
You do realize you're not helping, don't you? You're making it worse for yourself. I'd like to talk about the letter you're writing. What woman is it addressed to?
Who says it's a woman? I'm not saying any more. There's no point you insisting. All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I know you were at the scene. We will save a lot of time if you just tell me what happened.
You know nothing at all.
Enlighten me then. For now, I have your footprint in a pool of blood.
That's right. The only thing you can prove is one of my boots was at the scene. Congratulations, you've wrapped up the investigation.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. It's probably nothing.
Not to worry, Your Eminence. If he is innocent, then he has nothing to fear. Do you know why Monsieur Bonaparte was hanging around her room like that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the dashing young soldier had become infatuated with a fragile young woman who looked a bit lost. But I don't think he got a very warm welcome.
Bonaparte and Adams? But they didn't even know each other, did they?
I couldn't say. But if I were you, my son, I would talk to Monsieur Peru. You remember how violently he set upon Miss Adams.
Oh, don't worry. He's on the list of suspects. I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
I'm sorry, my lord, but I don't have any evidence conclusive enough to allow me to name the culprit with certitude.
Really? I see. Well, that's your decision, Louis, and I accept it. Given the distinguished guests and the sensitive political issues involved at the conference, I trust you'll leave me to conclude the case in my own way. Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She seems to be making every effort to steer clear of your guests.
What do you mean?
For the past few weeks, my mother's been playing cat and mouse, if you will. I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that she's trying to avoid someone. The question is, who?
And in your opinion, would she be the cat or the mouse?
I'd like to answer the cat, but unfortunately I'm increasingly worried that she's in fact the mouse.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities and yours in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
If only my mother had trusted me, but she remained very mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I'm sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Her not coming back to the manor after so long makes me wonder if she is wary of someone.
Well, certainly. But whom? The only ones who were present during her stay were Sir Gregory, Duchess Hillsborough, Mr. von Wollner, and myself.
You forget Elizabeth Adams, my lord.
That's true. But Gregory and I arranged it so that they wouldn't run into each other. I thought it had worked. Do you think that your mother felt she was in danger because of Elizabeth?
It's possible.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Ah, yes. His famous cotton gin. It was supposed to revolutionize cotton production in the United States.
It will revolutionize the world, Louis. The potential of this invention is much greater. Tomorrow, all industries will be switching to simple but large-scale production. Of that, I'm sure.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the Third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Mother lulled my childhood with tales of the Crusades. How Richard the Lionheart and Philip Augustus had to battle it out to achieve their ends. And how Guy de Lusignan, having broken his word, launched the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Oh, I see Sarah's lessons have inspired new enthusiasts. Good on you, because not everyone can claim they know as much at your age. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
Emily has a twin sister who knew my mother? What's she playing at, goddammit? That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there. There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be?
Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
What is this disc? St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion can be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. The door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound. We'll see if it works. It's open.
Chest with the occult symbol representing air.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. The New Testament. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized by John in Jordan. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and a half a time, from the face of the serpent. Hey, a new note. It's been folded carefully in the corner of this page. The writing, it's not my mother's. S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note. This volume dates from the first edition of Gutenberg. It's the first book that was ever printed. The pages are covered in annotations in Latin, French, and Hebrew. Someone spent years studying this Bible. This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord. A volume of the Gutenberg Bible. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our God, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. It's St. John, painted by Guido Rini. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Rini. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Rini. A fragment of amber. St. Paul painted by Guido Rini. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean? Of the 4 apostles shown in this piece, Paul is the only one who isn't an evangelist. He is the 13th apostle. So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe? Paul and Silvanus and Timotheus unto the church of the Thessalonians, which is in God the Father and in the Lord Jesus Christ. Grace be unto you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who think only of earthly things. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come?
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized by John in Jordan. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed it and broke it and gave it to them and said, "Take, eat, this is my body."
the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note. St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles. Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible. For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait, a note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that? St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer. The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. But wasn't my mother said that she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle? Ah, of course! There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add one companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note. A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean? Now, therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer injustice? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Ah, look, here's a message. It is of paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. And that first group of pilgrims, how many are there now? If I refer to the chapter I'm reading at the moment, 6. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul. St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. Well, a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust. I can read the number 4. And he became very hungry, and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding.
Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that? Clearly, she must be trying to do something useful, but what? The nightmare. Does that remind me of anything? Well, if it's a concept, I've got no idea what it is. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious. It's time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon.
You are expected in the small salon, sir.
Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis?
I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
It must have been Emma I saw in my vision. I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay. I've got a question that might seem a little bit strange.
I'm listening.
If I said go beyond the nightmare, would that ring any bells?
No, means nothing to me. Do you mean literally or figuratively speaking?
My mother used to talk about it In the figurative sense, probably. We still need to understand what she was referring to, though.
If I find something, I'll let you know.
Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge. I better keep that to myself for the time being.
Come, Louis. They're waiting for us.
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Calm now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
And who is this charming character?
Manuel Godoy, the Duke of La Alcudia.
He's the head of the Spanish government, Monsieur de Richet. He's the one who, in practice, controls Spain.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined.
What?
Oh, no.
The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchies are in danger. I have said it before.
How dare they?
Oh, dear.
Oh, as if it...
Gracious.
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous! Bastard! He was sentenced to death by 361 votes to 360. You beheaded a king for one vote! Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please. Let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, Duchess, we're all among people of reputable company here. We should be able to manage the conflicts of our nations in a respectful and orderly manner.
I fully agree with you, sir.
But
That's enough, sir.
with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
Louis Maras de Richet.
Are you related to Sarah de Richet?
Sarah is his mother, Duke. Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us by surprise. Let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured. The response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
Could you spare a moment, please, sir?
I'm glad you asked. I want to talk to you, too.
Of course.
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
Why? Is there something you particularly wanted from her?
No, not specially.
My questions made him feel uneasy, but he's keeping his emotions under control.
Your mother and I used to often speak together. I have rarely met someone so learned. To tell you the truth, I was about to make a deal with her. Did she tell you about our arrangement?
The cat's out of the bag now. More or less, but please do refresh my memory.
Yes, of course. Nothing of great importance in itself. During one of our discussions, she spoke of an old book which might have been of interest to me, and she had agreed to let me have it.
A book about what?
Ancient occultism. As you are aware, I am a doctor of theology. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
No, I don't think so.
Ah, right. I thought she had it with her.
I haven't found anything yet, no.
Too bad. I shan't keep you, Monsieur de Richet.
All right then. Thank you.
I hope that your search will prove successful and bring Sarah back to us soon. I must go now. I'll see you later.
There's a pattern with 5 circles on this chest. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. Pound. Monsieur Bonaparte, may I speak with you a moment?
May we?
Does expression "go beyond the nightmare" mean anything to you at all?
Well, metaphorically, yes. It sums up the career of a soldier quite well. I doubt that is what you want to hear, though.
Indeed.
That's surely not what I'm looking for.
Well, monsieur, if you are looking for a phrase book, Lord Mortimer must surely have one, given the number of books he has. You ought to check in the library of the tower. You never know.
What do you think of Duke Godoy?
Well, I'd rather not express any opinion of him.
Why's that?
His reputation is enough for me.
There are some rumors about his loose morals.
Juste, monsieur. Add to that his devouring ambition, if you want my opinion. Playing at Loverboy rather than gaining merit for his career. It's a disgrace for any soldier.
I understand your point of view. Would you have any more information about the conference Lord Mortimer spoke of?
Nothing at all. Mortimer is very committed to secrecy when it comes to his conferences. But given the presence of Monsieur Peru and ourselves, I think it must concern France to some extent. Otherwise, I doubt he would have invited 3 Frenchmen to his table, huh?
Well, I'll be leaving you now. Shall we meet up again later?
Wait, monsieur. Any news of your mother?
Unfortunately not, no.
I hope to speak with her about my deal before I leave. Let me know if you find her. À plus tard, monsieur.
Lord Mortimer certainly has a taste for staging rooms. Mr. President, what do you think about your counterpart, Duke Manuel?
I'm very surprised he was able to accept Lord Mortimer's invitation, given the political situation in Spain.
I wonder what promise Lord Mortimer could have made to make him agree to come here, given the circumstances.
Who knows?
Go beyond the nightmare. Does this line remind you of anything in particular?
You've caught me unaware here, Louis. Let me think about it a second. No, nothing comes to mind. Sorry, Louis, but I am unable to help you.
Mr. President, can you tell me a little more about the coming conference?
Of course, Louis. That's why we're here. Lord Mortimer or Sir Gregory regularly organize meetings like this to put forward major projects.
What do you mean by major projects?
I'd prefer to let Lord Mortimer explain that to you, Louis. Let's say he brings together influential people in order to consider possible actions to undertake to guarantee the future of nations.
Do you know the theme of the conference?
Not in the slightest. None of the guests know the theme before arriving. But you'll see, everything will turn out fine. Don't worry.
Well, thank you for your time.
Don't mention it, my young friend. Regarding your question on the nightmare, don't hesitate to question the others about it. Maybe one of them knows more than I do.
That's a good idea. Thank you once again. I'll see you in a little bit. Romney painted Lady Hamilton as Circe.
Ah, Louis. Just the man. Good Lord. How did the king come to be executed? I would think that the order would have intervened.
I invite you to speak about it with my mother as soon as she reappears.
Is there any news of her?
I hope it won't be long before I find her, Your Eminence.
Now you wanted to speak to me.
I'm sure a man like you is in the circle of trust. Would you know what the conference that Lord Mortimer mentioned is going to be about?
Not really, my son. Well, be it Lord Mortimer or Sir Gregory, we are never informed about the theme of the conference before it begins.
I was wondering what to think of that Manuel Godoy.
He is reputed to be a very ambitious character, at every level. But his faith is unwavering. He is a staunch defender of the church. You can believe me.
As to his faith, I have no doubt. However, his ambition seems to surpass his morality, and I hope that it will not sully the crown.
You can say that again. The blue eyes of the latest Infanta, Maria Isabel, have left everyone wondering.
Rumors always accompany men of power, Your Eminence.
Naturally. But the number of awards and titles granted by the Queen during these past 4 years leaves little doubt.
So, Godoy really is this out-and-out rascal who uses his charm on the Queen. If I say the nightmare to you, does it make you think of anything?
Your question is strange, my son. Difficult to say. Could you at least tell me a little more about the context?
Well, I mean, if it were a place or an object found on this island, what would you think of first?
The nightmare. No, I don't see anything. I'm sorry.
Well, that's too bad.
Ah, wait! I suppose it might be that horrible painting hanging in Lord Mortimer's study.
Pretend not to be that interested. Right. Well, don't worry about it. I was just curious. Thank you for everything, Your Eminence. I shan't take up any more of your time.
You are welcome, my son. I will be seeing you, Louis.
Atrus, the Miller Brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it.
Liberty or Death by Regnault. Well, I'll take liberty, please. But I do understand his choice, even though it seems radical. Christ Crucified by Velasquez. Look, someone's left a note there. Reserved for the Duke of Alquidia. Ah, François Ier, Receiving the Holy Family, a painting by Raphael. The Song of Roland. Roland feeleth his death is near, his brain is oozing by either ear. With his brain oozing, it's all right. The Fall of Phaeton, another painting by Rubens. Poor Phaeton, struck by lightning for borrowing his father's chariot and losing control of it. Moral, don't steal Dad's chariot. The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci.
The last day before his crucifixion, Jesus announces that he will be betrayed by one of his disciples. There's the alchemical symbol of the earth on the lid. There's the alchemical symbol of the earth on the lid.
A fragment of amber.
So, what did my mother mean by going beyond the nightmare? The Book of the Mortimer family. Let's take a closer look. Dark chocolate beans. Very bitter. They're greatly prized in high society. No, what have we got here? Oh, it looks like a model of a lock. It's as if Mortimer is fond of complicating things sometimes. Well, I hope I never have to try and unlock it. Great, honey. The Nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781. Ah, this must be what my mother was talking about. Now just need to find out what she meant by go beyond. Hey, looks like it's mounted on rails on each side. It should lift up, I think. There must be a mechanism somewhere. Carmelite water. Aha! I found it. Oh, what on earth is this? A ring lock now? Great. That's all I needed. Looks like there's a marker on number 1 on the second roller. Well, I got it wrong. It doesn't matter. Looks like there's a marker on number 1 on the second roller. History of the First Crusades by Pierre Amédée de la Salle. Hey, the dates indicate AL, and it looks like 4,000 years have been added to our calendar. Oh, that counting system again.
famous call of Pope Urban II. 20 years after the capture of Jerusalem from the Arabs by the Turks, Urban II convened the council. He promises a plenary indulgence to Christians who go and get Jerusalem back from the Turks. The result, the Jewish community on the road to Jerusalem found itself persecuted for no reason. 12,000 Jews would perish, not to mention the massacre of Ma'ara, where acts of cannibalism by Frankish crusaders were reported, or even the capture of Jerusalem, where approximately 30,000 were left dead. It signaled the beginning of centuries of wars of religion. Or how Louis VII, King of France, eager to be pardoned for the death of thousands of innocent people in the fire of the Church of Vitry, convinces the Pope to authorize him to lead his own crusade. The result, in Germany, a new outburst of violence against the Jewish community, and a monumental fiasco by poor Louis VII, cuckolded by his wife's uncle. The famous call from Pope Gregory VIII in his Audita Tremendi bull of 5,187. Oh, the crusade where Richard the Lionhearted distinguished himself. It states the first sea blockade of Saint-Jean d'Acre was broken in the 12th month of 5,190 AL, whereas the siege had been going on for 2 years. The Crusades took place not long after the year 1000. Here all the dates say 5,000 and something. I'm guessing this dating system begins 4,000 years before the calendar that we use. Yet, I'm getting the feeling that there's something else, another small detail, but what is it? This painting isn't finished, and it looks like Mortimer probably did it. Not bad, but you can't exactly say it's been done in the style of the period. Coup de Lance by Paul Rubens. Which four-letter word could open this chest? Damn it. Doesn't work. 5,190. I was pretty sure it was right. Maybe I didn't use the right dating system. Doesn't work, damn it. I really thought I was close. 1,190. Isn't the right date when you subtract 4,000? I must have missed a subtlety. Might come in handy. History of the First Crusades by Pierre Amédée de la Sarde. Hey, the dates indicate AL, and it looks like 4,000 years have been added to our calendar. Oh, that counting system again. The famous call of Pope Urban II. 20 years after the capture of Jerusalem from the Arabs by the Turks, Urban II convened the council. He promises a plenary indulgence to Christians who go and get Jerusalem back from the Turks. The result, the Jewish community on the road to Jerusalem found itself persecuted for no reason. 12,000 Jews would perish, not to mention the massacre of Ma'ara, where acts of cannibalism by Frankish crusaders were reported, or even the capture of Jerusalem, where approximately 30,000 were left dead. It signaled the beginning of centuries of wars of religion. Or how Louis VII, King of France, eager to be pardoned for the death of thousands of innocent people in the fire of the Church of Vitry, convinces the Pope to authorize him to lead his own crusade. The result, in Germany, a new outburst of violence against the Jewish community, and a monumental fiasco by poor Louis VII, cuckolded by his wife's uncle. The Crusades took place not long after the year 1000. Here all the dates say 5,000 and something. I'm guessing this dating system begins 4,000 years before the calendar that we use. Yet, I'm getting the feeling that there's something else, another small detail, but what is it? Well, I got it wrong. It doesn't matter. Well, I got it wrong. Doesn't matter. A myna bird. Tell me the door code. Here I am talking to a bird. Shame on me. Well, Waldo, is your master good? I don't really know what I was expecting. Oh, what have I done? It looks like I've killed him. Oh, shit. I better not hang around. William Alexander Mortimer I, the 12th month of Anno Lucis,
5,190. That's a funny date. That date in 5,000 is something again. I wonder what in the world it means. Still not working. I get the impression I counted the wrong way. It must be 1 year more then, right? Doesn't work, damn it. I really thought I was close. 1001 looks like there's a marker on number 1 on the second roller. Well, I got it wrong. It doesn't matter. Many families kept documents of their history, but I've never seen anything like this before. Such regularity in writing them up through the generations for such a long time. First time I've ever seen that. Mortimer gives considerable importance to his origins. That's undeniable. Oh, the family tree. The first William Alexander Mortimer. He was born in 1131 and distinguished himself during the Third Crusade, during which he rubbed shoulders with Richard the Lionheart. He showed outstanding bravery during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre. He died in 1211 in the country of Westford at the age of 80. What longevity! Nice. Nothing is mentioned about his wife. All right. For one, the women of the lineage are not mentioned at all. What a cavalier attitude. Right. Let's see. Who else is there? Only son, a descendant with a singular name. He also took a wife and had only one child, named William again. Another at random. William Mortimer again. Only son, him too. Born in 1573 and died in 1665. The Mortimers lived to a ripe old age, that's for sure. Discreet again. The summary states that he was an excellent merchant, and that towards the end of his life, he entered politics? Well, I got it wrong. It doesn't matter. Well, I got it. Well, I got it wrong. It doesn't matter.
on, Sesame. Let's see what you've been hiding, Lord Murderer. Moreover, it shows a fair number of sea voyages being organized towards the American continent. No doubt with slaves. How many men are broken in this trade? Tens of thousands each year, according to what people say. It shows the forces present in Africa. This is unexpected activity in this sector. It looks like there are also many unknowns, even for Mortimer. Weakness of the Human Psyche by Guillaume Trimore. He says, it is possible to drill an idea into someone by constant daily repetition until the mind gives in. And goes on, there are hundreds of good ways to live life, but you only need one to convince the masses that it's the only one possible. This shows the forces present in America. This is my mother's writing. I've picked up her trail. What is she up to? Obviously, she wants to lure Mortimer somewhere, but where? The only clue she's left for Mortimer is this stone sword. It must be intentional. It looks like a decorative sword, like from a statue, for example. And judging by the state of it, I'm guessing it's been left outside for a long time. I have absolutely got to find out where it came from.
fine-looking map of the Orient, indeed. It's locked. It shows the forces present in Europe. It's clear that France is surrounded by her enemies. However, a large number has been underlined in bold. 26 million. I know what it is. It's an estimation of my country's population. All our neighbors have far fewer inhabitants. Preservation using formaldehyde. Just as disgusting as ever. Something strange about this table. The little surgeon's perfect collection. Strange. I don't recognize the alphabet. I wonder where the pictograms are from. It isn't Egyptian or Hebrew. There are two inscriptions on the sides as well as on the top. No way to know what's underneath. Absolutely no idea what it's for, but I find this cube fascinating. Looks like obsidian or onyx. It must weigh a ton. These are feathers. Pigeon, probably.
must be for writing the homing pigeon messages. Look, a pack of tarot cards. Has he been reading the cards? Mortimer? That would surprise me. It is a typical draw on a line that answers a specific question. To the left, Temperance, that announces a reward for one who patiently waits before taking any action. And in the middle, the Chariot, which symbolizes triumph and business success. To the right, the Emperor evokes a future full of power and stability. Some goat skulls, chicken legs. Now we all know what that's for. I'm a little surprised at Mortimer. I didn't seem as the type to be organizing little pagan parties, invoking occult powers, and dancing naked under the full moon. I'm more 3 rusty old nails. They're about 20 centimeters long. 3 rusty old nails. They're about 20 centimeters long. An iron mask. I wonder who it's for. Carmelite water. Am I seeing things, or is that an actual von Leeuwenhoek microscope? Incredible. Mortimer really is at the cutting edge of science. Even at the Order, it took us ages to get one of those.
A chest with a motif representing the alchemical symbol of fire.
Honey, the remedy of the gods.
Table of alchemical elements. So, Lord Mortimer also studies alchemy? It seems like he's interested in everything.
Preservation using formaldehyde. Just as disgusting as ever. Locked.
Oh, shit. How am I gonna get out of here now? This looks like the same mechanism as the one on the other side. It looks too easy. It could be a trap. Looks like the same as the one on the other side. Whoa. If the grid closes a bit more every time I enter a wrong date, I'd better not mess up again. It doesn't seem to be working. This looks like the same mechanism as the one on the other side. Well, better not dwell on it then. Well. History of the Mortimer lineage. Looks like his ancestors have always sought to improve society, and have had an open attitude towards the arts. Oh, the family tree. Lord William Alexander Mortimer, lover of the arts and the sciences, he took up politics at an early age. After rapidly becoming influential, he decides to retire from public life in order to organize conferences reserved for the elite with the aim of finding answers to world problems. Blah, 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 blah. He's also an only son, and the book doesn't mention any known descendant. The direct descendant of William Alexander Mortimer I was born in 1195 on his father's return from the crusade. Only son, more discreet than his father, it states that he was widely traveled. He produced only one descendant, named William Michael Mortimer. He died in 1275. There's no chapter dedicated to his mother. All right. For one, the women of the lineage are not mentioned at all. What a cavalier attitude. Right. Let's see. Who else is there? This note is about a meeting with Lord Mortimer. There's no doubt about it. All right, I need to find out where the sword that came with it's from in order to find Mother.
You're joking, I hope. Don't tell me you've done that.
Really? How do you expect me to guess?
Oh, for God's sake, just ask them. We must absolutely inform Sir Gregory. How long has he been trying to collect all the spears?
I must have brought him the first one 20-odd years ago.
Do you know if he has managed to get the original?
Well, in any case, he's got all the ones we had at the Vatican. He made me replace them with copies. But I don't understand your reaction. I'm sure it is nothing serious.
I can see very well you do not understand. You have done nothing less than sign our death warrants, and still you don't understand.
Someone is listening.
What? Monsieur de Richet, why not join us rather than find yourself eavesdropping?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Of course you didn't. So, my son, what can we do for you?
I was wondering if you might have seen an object like this, here, at the manor.
What are you playing at, de Richet?
I'm afraid I can't help you, my son. Ask someone who knows the manor better than I do. One of the servants, for example. One of them is bound to help you.
Thank you for your advice, Your Eminence. I didn't mean to spy on you, but you caught my attention. Your Eminence, I don't know what you said to Mr. von Bollner, but the poor fellow looks positively crestfallen.
Not at all.
Don't you believe it, Louis. I was just telling Monsieur about Lord Mortimer's burning passion for holy relics. You must have noticed he's a bit of a collector. Well, for years he has been searching high and low to bring all the copies of the Holy Spear together. As I was coming here, I thought I'd bring him a few of them. That's all.
Be quiet, for God's sake. Please leave us, monsieur. His Eminence and I wish to finish our discussion alone.
There's the alchemical symbol of the earth on the lid.
I am sorry, sir, but the conference room is under preparation and is consequently inaccessible to guests.
Could you perhaps help me?
What can I do for you, sir?
Where did this sword come from?
From the garden, sir. That sword belongs to one of the statues in the garden.
Thank you very much.
Don't mention it, sir.
The sword probably came from this garden, but what could it have been used for?
Well, Monsieur de Richet, what brings you here?
I'm still looking for my mother, of course.
You're right, monsieur. Keep looking. Good luck to you.
Ariadne. In Greek mythology, she helped Theseus get through the labyrinth. Looks like there's a crack in the region of the heart. I guide the sword that will kill the monster. I guide the sword that will kill the monster. Let's see. What's going to happen if I've got it wrong? Ariadne. In Greek mythology, Ariadne helped Theseus out of the labyrinth. Here's the famous Ariadne's thread, thanks to which, if I remember rightly, Theseus avoided getting lost in the labyrinth. Theseus, son of Aegeus. He's the one who slayed the Minotaur. Looks like a crack has been made on his torso. It's as long as a finger. I'd say between 6 and 8 centimeters. Wrongly positioned. I am the blind hero. I wasn't expecting an inscription like that. I wonder if Mother managed to solve this enigma. Asterion. It is rare to see him like this. In general, he's represented with the head of a bull, with the features of the Minotaur.
The famous son of Minos and Pasiphae.
This statue has a crack in it. The crack is thin and about as long as a finger. I should be able to thrust in my sword. Let's go. Minos, son of Zeus and Europa. If I remember correctly, he was the king of Crete. Married to Pasiphae,
He had many children, including the famous Ariadne, whom history remembers for her thread. Hey, there's a crack in that statue. His gesture sealed his fate. Daedalus. He's the architect of the labyrinth, and if I'm not mistaken, he's also the father of Icarus. Hey, there's a crack in this statue too. Pasiphae, daughter of Perseus and sister of Circe. She married Minos and became the queen of Crete. She has no cracks. All right, let's continue anyways. I wonder what this kiosk is doing in the middle of the garden. Too cramped to be able to do much. Well, there must be something going on there. What is that? It's like a sort of opening mechanism. Knowing Mortimer, I bet it's booby-trapped. There's a little hole at the fingers. Pretty sure if I get it wrong, I'll get pricked. Damn you, Mortimer. Reminds me of traps I studied in Egyptian tombs. Ariadne. Try something else. Greek drachma, one of the rare ancient coins to be mentioned both in the Bible and in the Quran.
Minos.
He and his queen, Pasiphae, were the monarchs of Crete.
His gesture sealed his fate. The crack is in the region of the heart. Again?
You can't be serious, Manuel. You know that's not going to happen.
You must leave me alone now. I have agreed to everything. Even to...
Agreed? I wasn't aware you had a choice.
What's going on here?
What now? What else must I do to win back my freedom?
Obey me. Now get out!
What was that? That's the third time in 3 days. Let's see if you're in there, Mother. A fragment of amber. Bandages? Someone's been patching themselves up. Looks like my mother took advantage of being in hiding to change her bandages, huh? This is silk. She must have used her own clothes. There are patches where the blood isn't totally clotted. That's a good sign, right? She changed them recently, which proves she's still looking after herself and still believes in her chances. Well, I'd love to tell her to keep hanging in there. Hey, a Russian ruble. I wonder what it'd be worth today. Damn it, Mother. Now what's happened?
Don't move!
Wait, I'm not armed.
Who are you?
Good God, Mother, what have you—
Tell me who you are!